we're on the air.
Good morning. I'm calling this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation, and this is Wednesday, which is unusual because usually it's a Tuesday when we're greeting you. This is Wednesday, May 8th, 2019. And looks like we definitely have a quorum. And so I will ask Director Palmer to lead us in the pledge.
Before we lead on the pledge, I'd like to have 1 minute of silence for our military personnel. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Acknowledging the media, I can see the TV is on, and yes, the globe is back there, so we are good to go. Approval of the agenda? Any objections? So moved, and I think Dick seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Approved. Approval of the minutes of the meeting for April 2nd. If there's no objection, passed. Approval of the minutes for the special open meeting on April 12th. No objection. Approved. Report of the chair. This is Wednesday, and Sunday will be Mother's Day, and I would like to just take this opportunity to wish a happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there in the community in TV land, and all of the members on our staff that are mothers, and all of the mothers on all of the village boards, including this board. So happy Mother's Day, one and all. I have an interesting thing to share with all of you. The other day, my husband and I had a surprise that our hardwood floor was buckling. And it was not a nice surprise. It was, okay, now let's go through what we would do, what we should do next. So obviously we figured the first step would be to call the village and say, woo, what do we do? And I need to commend at this time, because it did not take very long at all, for the moisture intrusion guys, Brandon and Joe, to be there checking with their instruments to see where the leak was, and the plumbers, and Eric was the lead of that team to come. So I just want to say that our village workers not only were there to do the job, to find out where the problem was. I mean, trust me, we will have lots of problems trying to get all of this fixed, but they were there, and they were professional, and they were so helpful. It just made you secure. When you see your floor buckling, it's a little bit of a insecure situation. So I want to say thank you to the whole maintenance and construction team, and say our staff is just superstars. Thank you. And let me see, what's the third bullet that I have on my notes this morning is that yesterday, every officer from all of the 4 boards in our community, as well as leads of departments and our administrative staff for VMS, had a meeting, a strategic plan meeting. And we worked through and got ideas as a team of direction that we are looking toward moving in the next 3 and 5 years. And so it's just such a good look and such a good step in the direction that we are working with self-management and working together as a team. So I want to say thank you for that day. Pardon?
I'm going to share it.
Yes, yes, and we will be sharing it. And let me see, where am I? I am on update from VMS, Director Shimon.
Hi, I'm Lucy Scheinman. Today, I'm going to send out or talk about, get yourself a pen and a piece of paper because I'm going to give you the schedule for the next week of what's going on in this place. There is so much, there's something almost every day. Anyway, today, first of all, let's go back to last weekend. Gates 7 and 3 are open. And what a delight it is to come direct, not by circuitous routes from where I live. I was going to mention the strategic planning that you did yesterday. All of us are very anxious to hear what is going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years. This is something we've never done here before, is to plan more than a year in advance. And I'm so pleased, and I'm sure that VMS, and I know the VMS board is delighted that we have some long-range goals, and I've heard other people on other boards express that desire for a lot of time. So anyway, so that happened yesterday, and you're going to hear more later, I know. Today, believe it or not, at 5 o'clock, OCTA, Orange County Transportation, is coming to the PAC at 5 to show us what the changes in the freeway on and off ramps are going to be like after they get the input and choose what to do up at El Toro and the 5. So it's very interesting. It's going to have an effect on us, and I think people are, we asked to have them come here where they could have a larger audience and could handle this in a much more comfortable way than they did the presentation they did last month, which was standing and trying to get close to a board that showed a picture of what they thought they were going to do. And this will be sitting down, hopefully with slides or a presentation where they will tell you in more detail and you can see better of what the heck they're trying to do and why. Tomorrow, I think there is something that, a sing-along or something. I didn't look that up. I know that, but that was social. So the next thing that everybody was going to hear about 5 times is over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, this building will be closed to everything, which means table tennis and fitness center, because they're going to lift all of the new air conditioning equipment up to the top of the building. However, this morning, a great big long truck was blocking the whole front end, looking for a place to park. And guess what? There aren't any. They came, I followed it, I got stopped by it as I came into the parking lot, and I could see one spot. However, Dick Palmer was ahead of me, and he went around the back way and got that spot. So, so I went around the back too, because there was nowhere else to go. And I found a place, only three spaces from the back door, which is good. It's even closer than the front. And guess what came behind me? That big truck looking for a place to light. I think if he took up all the golf cart spaces, he might be able to fit. So I don't know. I can't imagine why, if this is only Wednesday, why is that truck here now? Getting a good spot for Saturday? And let's see. The next thing is on Monday the 13th. Apparently, the village artists are changing all of the pictures within this building. In fact, I saw some new ones as I walked in. And so Monday night, from 5 to 7, they're having a wine and snacky thing here to show off all of the pictures in the building. So that is as far as I went into the future. But pay attention, all of this stuff is online. And you can know what's going on without coming here, and every week it's there, it's the blast. Anyway, the other thing I'm doing this morning is I want to introduce Whitney Thornton, who hopefully is here somewhere. Whitney first came on board in January 2018 as a temporary from Kimco Staffing Agency. She was an administrative specialist for Pamela Bashline. And then we saw we had a jewel. And she was hired by VMS on April 5th. So from January to April, that's a whole 4 months. She became assistant corporate secretary for the general manager's office. And she was managing and has been GRF and VMS. And now her husband got a good job, a wonderful job. Where? In Missouri. So being a good camp follower, Whitney will follow her husband to Missouri, deserting us and leaving us in the lurch. And she leaves at the end of the week, this week? Next week, 1 more week. But she has been just a jewel for VMS and GRF because she does all of our minutes. And she's been working on maintaining records and getting all that old stuff into the computer. Anyhow, this is a wonderful employee. She hasn't been honored anywhere else. I want to honor her.
Whitney, don't sit down. We're all going to stand up and do another round of applause because Whitney has been the star helping us on the GRF board, and we are so grateful, and we will miss you desperately.
Anyway, and I can't beat that, so I'm going to quit. See you in 3 months.
And I need to say, Lucy, I pronounced your name incorrectly. It's Lucy Scheinman. I apologize. And so where we are now is our CEO report. Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Beth. Lucy did a really good job of stealing my thunder, so no, that's great. So I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of follow-up on a couple of points that was indicated earlier. Again, great that we have the 3 and 7, the gates back open. Come next week, we'll start on gates 1 and 9 when they'll be closed. We'll be working on those over the next 6 weeks to get those completed. Just want to mention alternatives to gate 1 and 9 adjusted hours. For gate 1, pedestrian and golf cart hours will be 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. Gate 2 and gate 3 will be open 24/7. Gate 4 returns to its normal hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Relative to gate 9 pedestrian access only from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Gates 7 and 10 will be open 24/7, and gate 8 will be open 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. to address the access issues. Those that use Gate 1 realize that El Toro is a very busy street, so be aware of that. It's a very short entryway, so we're working with our security and maintenance to work together to make sure that we address the traffic flow there as best we can. But for those that are using that or are aware of that area, you may want to try to avoid that as much as possible, let's put it that way. El Toro is never really a good place anyhow with regards to traffic. Second thing that was mentioned, again, tonight, I want to reiterate, at the Performing Arts Center, the PAC informational meeting with regards to the I-5 widening project that Caltrans is proposing, along with the Orange County Transportation Authority. One of the alternatives, which is what we call flyover, which is an off-ramp that will access over to Lake Forest from the our side, what I'll call that the south or west side, has a significant impact on the residential areas around Gate 6 and 5. So both United and Third are affected by this. So the village is affected by this, and most importantly, so we want to get residents out there to take a look at the proposal, hear the presentations. And one of the things that Siobhan and I had the opportunity to meet with Chris Macon, who's city manager from the city. And we're working with their team who's done an environmental analysis already, and we're going to work to take some of that environmental analysis and develop a letter of concerns that we can express to Caltrans and get that off before the closing date, which is, I believe, May 20th. For getting comments back into the environmental documentation. So we're working on that. So we'll have that out and get that information out, especially after tonight, and we have better knowledge of where we're going with this. On the gate thing, I want to kind of go back and again reiterate to everybody out there. Once these gates are open, the best way to access is that through the RFID program. So come in and to resident services and get your RFID sticker, or I'll call it sticker, because that really will make the access and security for our village just enhanced. So the more people we can get, and by the way, our numbers are very small in total numbers of people that don't have it yet. So we're getting closer and closer. So it's really good. We've over the last 2 gate closings, after we've opened those gates, resident services has seen a big swell of people coming in and getting it. So that's really, really encouraging. So we're going to continue that. As mentioned, this weekend, we're going to put in the new HVAC systems on the roof here. So the building will be closed. To answer Lucy's question, these HVAC systems came from actually Mexico. We're part of the manufacturing process. A couple of them are parked in the back parking lot back there. If you take a look at them, you'll see why the building needs to be closed. They're rather large. They're on semis back there, and significant if we had a faulty mechanism with regards. You don't want anybody in the building to get hurt. So that's why we're closing it down and acting like we're in a holiday mode relative to the operation of the building. And last but not least, I wanted to mention also that we have the Community Center art exhibit that Lucy mentioned. We have new art in the building, and we want to express a great appreciation to the Laguna Woods Art Association for their support in this initiative and making this happen. They are a great organization, and there's some really, really very interesting and cool and very appreciative art that's now in the building, and it rotates on a yearly basis. So again, to the Laguna Woods Art Association, thank you, and that's my report.
Thank you, Jeff. I've got 2 hands here. I think Bert was first and then Joan.
Jeff, the Laguna Hills Mall situation could exacerbate whatever they do on the 5. So I'm wondering how we're going to do an environmental study without first having resolved what's going to happen with the Laguna Hills Mall.
Good question.
The developer who is proposing the new project at the mall has had one developer presentation that some of our community members went to. And for those that don't know, at one point in time, it was proposed that there might be additional 1,000 apartment units in the new proposal. That's now been increased to over 2,000. It's about 2,100 proposal. It is the opinion of your staff and those of the city that basically this is a effort by the developer to propose something that is significantly larger, significantly, if you look at the location of where they're putting their higher end usage, which is closer to the freeway, would be then creating a taking by Caltrans if they were to get approval for their project first, and then Caltrans needed to take that right away. So we don't believe that the city actually has supported that project. It's the developer's proposal. I think it's really a lead into the developer trying to make sure that he's kept whole when it comes to whatever he develops out there. Because they haven't even started the process yet, there's no environmental document. However, there is a requirement under the Environmental Quality Act that if Caltrans, or in this case OCTA is the lead for Caltrans, is aware of a development that's going to occur in the future, an expansion of the mall or something, they have to take that into consideration when they do their environmental analysis. So that's one of the things that we're tweaking. How much did they take into consideration? How much of that is in the forethought of Caltrans? So we're going to look at that environmental document. The good news is the city has hired a specialist to evaluate the document, and Chris has indicated that he'll share some of that information with us so that we can put together a good impact letter to send out there to address that same question.
Just, I think a small correction. I think it's gate 2 and not gate 3 that's open.
I'm sorry.
Gate 3 will be closed in the future, just FYI. So it's, I'm sorry, it's gate 2 and 7 that are open.
No, gate 3.
Grade 3.
7 is just open. 3's been closed by the Performing Arts Center. That one's been
Two was done a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 was done the first round.
I'm sorry,
Three
thank
and-
you.
It's
Okay.
3 and 7 was this round.
Right.
Thanks,
And
I'm
and now we're
sorry.
on to 1 and 9.
And 1 and 9 is next.
Shows you I'm behind times. Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Sure.
Appreciate it. And this is now time for open forum. At this time, the speakers may address the Board of Directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the Board of Directors of the Golden Rain Foundation. So it's within our jurisdiction. There is a maximum time limit of 3 minutes per speaker, and a speaker may only address the board once during this period. The board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum. And we're going with the 3 minutes. And so, Cheryl, who do we have?
Our first speaker is Chris Collins.
Good morning. Chris Collins, 3306Q. I'm here to give you another update on the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village on behalf of residents experiencing temporary financial crisis. So the foundation is continuing its partnership with Braille Institute after a successful pilot project which went on last year. And this is to help residents who are visually impaired and need help. The mission of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village is to help residents who are facing financial difficulties with temporary assistance. And by continuing its partnership with the Braille Institute, the Foundation is expanding its ability to help village residents. With a bequest made in the memory of Dr. Adeline Bonin, she was a village resident. This program was started over a year ago and is located at the Braille Institute, less than a mile from the village, at 24411 Ridge Route Drive, Suite 110, which is in Laguna Hills, and it can be reached by phone at 949-330-5062. Braille Institute's Laguna Hills Neighborhood Center offers one-on-one low vision consultations, small group classes, and in-home training. all designed to help people with low vision continue to live well. The pilot project proved so successful in helping residents purchase things like magnifiers, canes, and specialized lighting that the foundation decided to continue it. Braille Institute will apply to the foundation on behalf of residents who are deemed financially needy to help them live independently. All requests for assistance will, of course, be kept confidential and the identity of the recipients shielded. In addition, with the bequest funds, the foundation recently provided additional funding to the village library to purchase large print paperback books, another means of helping residents with vision needs since these books have proved very popular. It's the goal of the foundation to continue meeting the needs of residents. If you are aware of a need in the village that is not currently being met, please contact us, which is the foundation at comlon.com, or call us at 949-268-2246. Thank you so much.
Okay, our next speaker is Susan Modell.
Welcome, Suzanne, welcome.
I'm Suzanne Modell. I live at 3314A, and I'm here to talk to you about the bus survey that I hope you know is being fielded in the village right now. I'm a retired sociologist. I have a PhD from the University of Michigan, which is the premier university for studying survey research, and my master's is essentially in survey research. I've taught graduate students methods and statistics for many years. Moving to the present, I am, for the last 5 years, an occasional bus user, so I have been attending meetings off and on and paying considerable attention to what's going on with the bus service. I watched with some guarded optimism when we decided to hire Fear and Peers to consult and improve our service. So I have a lot of correspondence here that I will hand in if anybody is interested in knowing about my ongoing exchanges. I have offered myself to the consultants as someone who's an insider and might be able to give them some assistance. But time is limited, so I'm going to go to the chase of why I'm here right now and read you an excerpt of a letter that the most recent one that I sent to Chris Laganor, who is the staff person currently involved with transportation. I sent this an email I sent on Sunday evening. Dear Mr. Laganor, I'm writing to express my disappointment with the inadequate publicity that the bus service survey has received. I held back in expressing my concerns because I was hoping to see a lead story in Thursday's Globe. But in fact, all I found was a minor article on page 11. Similarly, instead of appearing in the initial web page, email requests to fill out the survey are buried in the back pages of What's Up in the Village and other VMS electronic bulletins. As for snail mail, I have not received any questionnaire from the U.S. mail. It is my understanding that GRF has allocated more than $40,000 to get expert opinion on the bus service. Without more effective promotion of the survey, that money will be wasted. On Friday, that is last Friday, I shared these concerns with Steve Brown of Fear and Peers. He indicated that he would share them with you, Mr. Langenauer. I am writing now on the chance that he has not reached you or that you do not recognize the seriousness of the situation. I urge you to act immediately. Our residents deserve to be heard, but they cannot speak if they do not know that anyone is asking. I have yet to receive an answer to this message. So I pass the buck to you and hope that you can help.
Thank you, Suzanne. Who's next?
Okay, our next speaker is Joe Fixkin. I don't think I pronounced that right. I'm sorry.
Anything close is okay.
Welcome, Joe.
Good morning. I'm Joe Fitzcam from 405B. I want to thank all the volunteers, club officers, committee members, members of this board, and the directors for the great work they do. I want to thank all those heroes among them that protected the interests and finances of the community. I am forever grateful for all of the above mentioned that helped me assure that the new pickle and paddle tennis courts would come to a peaceful and cost-effective end. I appreciate that VMS continues to look for options for pickleball and paddle tennis as they were given to them as they found a way to make them happen. I want to thank all the GRF board members for having the courage to move forward to do the right thing for pickleball, paddle tennis, and tennis. You saved roughly $2 million over the last previously failed plan. Because it was $1 million cheaper than that plan, you also saved the proposed land that would have been used. You did not have to tear out the old courts, and you didn't have to repurpose it, which would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars as it was planned. You also have only one facility maintained instead of two. Whenever any of us walk into a GRF facility, we should use for any purpose, we should just say thank you. Thank you to the 12,000 people who help support our interested and loved activity. Never should we have a situation where a special interest group think they're more important than the residents. Never should we have a special interest group that thinks it's okay if they do something even though it may damage other people. We are not cults. We are not militias. We are neighbors. I believe that the new courts are working well with both sports who have been working together. You never heard of complaint from paddle tennis when we basically went away for 5 months. We didn't want to interfere with the pickleball or tennis courts that were used at that time. We started again with 70 members. When the courts opened, we now have about 100. 33 of us played yesterday, and nearly 100 residents played Saturday at an open house. And I just want to thank you for all that. It's really important that this board is always allowed to get the best information possible. I'll send an email through the website. I'd appreciate if you take a look at it. It'll give you kind of an idea of what I think might help both VMS and GRF get all the information they need to make good decisions and look at an old process that happened before where people don't matter, but a process matters. And you take a look and see if you can make some decisions to help both VMS and yourselves. But anyway, thank you for getting this all done, and we appreciate it.
Okay, our next
Joe?
speaker,
Oh, I just said thank you to Joe. Go ahead. Okay. Sorry.
our next speaker is Sandra Molinsky. Is she not here?
I'm here.
Oh,
Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Sandra Smolinski, 5280. I'm here today because I want to be able to work in the wood shop in peace and without being harassed by a group of men. I've been going to the wood shop almost every day for about 1.5 years. There is no club in the wood shop. Some guys have been very nice and helpful to me, and I've made some friends there. This is one of my latest projects. I was here before GRF on December 5th and talked about being bullied and harassed in the wood shop. Soon after that, Recreation Department posted a new sign of rules, which included a rule about harassment, intimidation, and bullying. That happened in December, I think. Since that time, about a month ago, a woman was working on a piece of furniture, and she left her name and phone number on it, which is what we're supposed to do. When she came back for it after having a hip replacement, it was gone. She filed a police report saying that it had been stolen, and I was told that a supervisor had thrown it away. A few weeks ago, I was standing next to someone who hasn't spoken to me in over 1 year. Out of the blue, he said, "Why don't you mind your own business?" A couple of weeks ago, the head supervisor told me that I'm not allowed to talk to visitors in the wood shop. I like to go up to visitors and talk to them, and especially if there's little girls with them, because I like them to see that I'm a woman woodworker and women can do it too. As the head supervisor was telling me that I'm not allowed to talk to visitors, he said that in front of the Clubhouse 4 supervisor, and as he spoke, I saw anger and rage in his face. I prepared a document. This document has 3 parts. Part 1 is a history of the wood shop and how it got to be, in some ways, such a nasty place. This was written by a Purple Heart veteran who actually helped build the wood shop and who was a supervisor there for 18 years. So this is not new that this is all going on. Part 2 is about safety issues. Part 3 is about harassment and gender discrimination. I've filed many reports with security, and still the harassment continues. I enjoy woodworking tremendously. Our shop is well equipped and as of last year, air conditioned. I hope that we can figure out a way to make the wood shop a more pleasant and welcoming place for all residents. Thank you. And I gave a copy of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
Okay, our next speaker is Dr. E. Morano.
Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. I am back here to discuss the impact of the removal of the TV in the drop-in lounge. And just to qualify for a minute, I am a United Nations representative. I'm a state lobbyist. I am an expert witness in court on the impact of the brain on people. One of the biggest things that happen here is isolation. That isolation is considered elder abuse. There have been 4 reports from Adult Protective Services out here saying that the removal of the TV constitutes elder abuse and that we should take the responsible party to court. That is in, the Sheriff's Department is also out here on a call for that. We're doing that. Also, just as a side, this is Mental Health Week, Mental Health Month, and I think that we need to pay attention to the mental health issues that we have here in the community. We do have the highest suicide rate in the county, and I think we need to consider having a group from rehab and social services get together and see what we can do. There's plenty of activities for the people who play balls, but not for the other people who are not able to do that. And I think we have a responsibility for funds and resources to help those other people. Besides, and sadly, one of our residents killed themselves this last week. And I think it's important for us to consider the isolation that happens from the lack of TV and the opportunity to be over there. I saw a petition signed by 3,000 people requesting a change in the recreational management so that we can provide services for the other half of the community, which is 78 and older. So I just basically wanted to tell you that an EEOC complaint has gone in also to get the right to sue that goes to the Attorney General because, again, this is considered elder abuse. So I thank you for your consideration of proposals and efforts that we can make a difference and help the other part of the community. Thanks for the time.
Our next speaker is Cash Akrakar.
Welcome, Cash.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everybody. My manor number is 201E, and I was fortunate to be part of that meeting yesterday, and I am much more proud to be a Woodian than I was 2 days ago after that meeting, because I see our staff is so astute, so proactive, and we have members of directors that are very intelligent and keep us on course. I would like to suggest one thing, though, that here our mean age is 77. 50% of us are over 77 years old with that statistics. And some of us are not fortunate enough, and they may have come to the point that their assets have depleted and they're all on fixed income. So before we go increasing our dues, like we are looking into different options, I would like to suggest that we look into all possible options we can have to bring funds other than raising HOA if possible. HOA raising should be the last resort. Before considering raises to HOA, also I would like to tell our members that CAC, the Community Activities Committee, is looking into many options. And I want to advise everyone, every resident to attend every meeting or to attend, be a part of the society. This is our society. This is our community. Your involvement not only will keep you active, it will keep you informed as to what goes on. I think we'll have better communication. Communication is not a one-way street, as we can do it from our end or from the director's end, and uh, but the receiving end has to be good as well. So everyone should get involved. I would ask everyone to attend as many meetings as possible, be involved, be active, and be a part of a community that is such a nice place. Thank you.
Thank you, Cash.
Our next and our last speaker is Juanita Skillman.
Welcome, Juanita.
Thank you, Beth. Good morning, Board. I just wanted to echo and put my support in for things that Jeff had talked about. It is so important for our members, our residents, to go to that meeting tonight at the PAC at 5 o'clock. There are alternatives to the on-ramps to the I-5 that are going to be presented. We don't have a vote, but they do take into consideration the comments that we make, the desires that we have, and the things that we feel are best for our community. Laguna Woods Village, sadly, is kind of left out a lot of the decisions in this part of the Southland. They just kind of marginalize us. I saw this when they were developing the plans for the 5 Laguna Mall, and we're 18,000 strong customers up here, and they disregarded us completely. And with the, that's the other part is as they are putting in the new proposals for the mall, and those are supposed to be into the city of Laguna Hills by June 1st. So we may see it at their meeting in June, or they may call a special meeting. But right now, everything is so conceptual. As Jeff said, they're trying to get their foot in the door because all of these are going to work together. That is where we, as people, as residents of the village, do most of our shopping. A lot of people don't drive or don't want to drive on the freeways up to the Spectrum, down to the Mission Viejo Mall. We want our shopping locally. And what's going to affect the retail stores and businesses that are local that we can get to easily are the things that we really have to look at. So that's why we asked for the meeting tonight in a setting where we could sit down and see projected exactly what they're talking about. And I encourage all of our residents to try to come because we need to fill the PAC and show them that we are worth looking at. And lastly, I'd like to thank the foundation on behalf of the library. We have one of the largest collections of large print in the county, more than the Orange County Public Library. They have to interlibrary loan it back and forth from a lot of different places. And we really serve our customers. And so the grant from the foundation helping us to increase those was very, very well received. Thank you.
Thank you, Juanita. And now it's time for directors who would like to make a response to comments. So who's first? Ray.
Yeah, commenting on the mobility and vehicle report situation, I believe Suzanne Modell, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. First off, we put out a lot of information on the hiring of the company. There was an open meeting, Clubhouse 1, the main lounge, on March the 20th. There was also a meeting at the Towers that afternoon. Mr. Chris gets a lot of phone calls and a lot of letters and things from people. We determined we're not going to be talking about this every night as to, well, maybe this will happen, maybe that'll happen. A report is going to be put together. It will be brought before the Mobility Committee, and it will be brought before this committee, this board right here. We will then make the determination, because we have to make the determination. There will be a lot of changes that may come about. And these people have let it be known. You have a question, you have a decision, you have a concern, let us know. We'll work with you. That's been said time and time and time again. So that's where it stands now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Who's next? Bert.
With regard to Suzanne's comment on notification of these surveys, I have found that we do not allow sufficient time, and I agree with her in terms of trying out to reach, get involved the community. My experience was with the lighting, the street lighting, where we only had a couple of weeks of notification asking people, and the method by which we had reached those people. Certainly, where those tests were run on Sociega, Gate 11 people were probably the most affected, since they generally would go that way. And probably a better way to reach out to them would have been to get a letter in the mail to those people at that gate asking them to participate. Would have had probably a better response. So it's an issue, I think. We're trying to address it, and I know it's been a problem that we have had, reaching out to the community and trying to get people involvement. And I just hope that we do a better job at it. Cash. 78 is an average age, not a median age. So when you make the statement that 50% of our people, that is not true, okay? Because that is the average, the mean is 78, not the median. So as a correction, okay? Thank you.
68 is what I got.
Who's next?
The comment Joe made on the pickleball, I was there for the grand opening, and I was so impressed with all you folks that showed up there. You really appreciated what we did for you folks, and it was a wonderful, wonderful. I mean, so many things I talk about that it was really wonderful. And the good news is that or another thing is that we actually overestimated the amount of money that it would take to do that job, and so we were able to take the money that was not spent and put it back in our system here. So, thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay. Tomorrow will be Thursday, the CAC meeting here at 1:30 in the boardroom. And we will be discussing, it's on the agenda, which is posted. This addresses Elizabeth Roman's issue, basically of the drop-in lounge television. It'll be discussed at that time. And I know that you diligently come to these meetings and to our meetings, so come tomorrow. And it's on the agenda. There again, I've been keeping a log, and I've been going there. I was there again on Monday. And I was there for, I spent a half hour. I was chatting with somebody after a workout class. I asked a few people who were in there what they thought, and they loved not having the television sound because it was noisy. There were quite a few people in there, and they really liked there's a lot more conversation, and there's a lot more conversation going on now that I've dropped in there. The thing that I'm not pleased about is that on the live programs, you can't even read it because there's nothing to read. And so come tomorrow and see what we're thinking about. And as far as the foundation, I also want to say that the Laguna Woods Golf Club Memorial will be Saturday, May 18th, and that is done between the golf club, the men's 18-hole golf club, and VMS, and that raises money for the foundation. Last year, they raised over, I think it was $36,000, and this year, it's projected to be around, at least around $30,000 to basically help the elders within our community that qualify. So Chris always keeps us up to date, and for that, I'm grateful. And for Joe, I want to say thank you because the booklet that you put together for us way back when we were talking about funding and all the efforts that you do to, even with the village games, I mean, you're quite a character at CAC sometimes, and it's very, very appreciated. So thank you so much for for loving the community as passionately as you do. I really appreciate it. And as far as Cash, when you talked about what we're trying to do in the community, you know, all the board officers, it'll go back to all the mutuals, they'll all discuss it. It's in the works, it's going to take a little bit of time to roll out, but basically everybody is very, very trying to keep, we're all aware of our assessments. And all of us, or most of us, are on fixed incomes. So it's a natural thing. It's it's the obvious around here, kind of. So we're very much aware of that, and we do keep that in our forefront. And Juanita, thank you so much for the OCTA PAC tonight, for the reminder. And I do want to say one thing. I know we're beating it to death, but about the celebration of the original Village Art, Monday, May 13th from 5 to 7 p.m., there will be wine and light refreshments will be served. This is the once-a-year artwork created by the members of the Laguna Woods Art Association, and it switches every year. So if you're interested, the art's beautiful. Please attend. Thank you.
Siobhan.
Honorable President, members of the board, I wanted to touch on the transportation survey very quickly and go over our outreach plan just so everyone is clear. We have the survey available on buses. The bus drivers are handing it out to patrons. It's available in all clubhouses. It was emailed several times, including a dedicated email, and it was also publicized in the transportation newsletter and the weekly blasts. Thank you.
Any other board members?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. You have to excuse my voice this morning, I'm a little hoarse. I wasn't going to respond, but I think I have to. Dr. Romano mentioned about this lady who took her life, and we have that. But you have to put it in perspective. We have one of the largest retirement communities in the world, definitely in the United States. And the largest number of suicides are with the elderly people. It's certainly not isolated. And then you mentioned elder abuse. I guarantee you there's no elder abuse from the community. There might be with some individuals, but not as far as GRF is aware of. If you know of any elder abuse from us, let us know specifically what it is. You mentioned the lack of TV. They have TV in their homes. Because we turned off the TV and it's going back on over in Clubhouse 1, I don't believe that would be a reason. I don't know. But that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth to hear that. We are not an elder abuse community. We're a great community. Thank you.
Yeah, I do. I want to say one more thing. Sorry. And as far as Sandra Smolinski, if you want to come tomorrow to the CAC, we'll be discussing that and see what we'll put it on. Okay? Thank you.
I had a couple comments I wanted to make also. Ray, I think, is my memory correct, can we provide bus transportation to Braille? It's right across from the Big Lots. It's in the parking lot across from Big Lots. But our buses can take our folks there. Or is Chris here? Can we do that, Chris?
He's here.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that that was out there on the airwaves, that if you do need the services of Braille and need a ride there, that you can get, I'm pretty sure it's Plan a Ride that would take you there. But anyway, we provide that service, so you would not need to not have the service.
Our buses take you there. You just have to let them know.
Pardon?
Our buses do take you there.
Yeah, okay, our buses will take you there. Then, pardon? And the regular buses will take you there. Right, thank you, everybody.
I'd like to suggest that maybe Chris come up if he can expound on the information put out before about not carrying and so forth. That's one. He gets constant phone calls and emails from people, and he is trying to keep things going. Just a good idea, I think.
Thank you, Chris, appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. This is regarding the study and the survey. Yeah, we've made multiple efforts through our consultant to get community feedback and input, from workshops to surveys to bus rides The consultants also had individual meetings with the bus drivers themselves. So they're trying to get a comprehensive look from all the people who are part of the bus system, the users, the non-users. The community survey that we just put out was just one element of the whole data gathering mechanism, and we tried our best through multiple email blasts. We had the surveys out at all the rec centers. We had information out on all the buses to try to get the word out. And talking to our consultant earlier this week, they were very satisfied so far with the responses that they've got to give them a good understanding of the community as a whole and what they need to provide us with good recommendations to improve the bus system. Any other questions? And yes, we will make sure that is it the Braille Institute? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if that's part of our fixed route system. If it's not, we
I'm
can
hearing
look
that it
into
is a part of fixed even, so that's good.
Okay. Oh, great. But if not, we can make sure it is part of.
Good, thank you. I know Annette's wanting to say something.
About the Braille Institute, if you want to go to it, when you call in about the bus ride, you just have to say if it's on your plan and they go along Ridge Route, you just have to ask to be dropped off there and they'll gladly.
Yeah, they will.
They'll gladly accommodate that request.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, that was my first point. I have 3 little points I wanted to make. The second point that I want to make is the golf tournament that Annette mentioned, the men's golf tournament. They raise fabulous amounts, and what they do with it is they give it to the foundation. And what does the foundation of Laguna Woods Village do with that money? They give it to folks that are identified through our social service department and anonymous to the people on the foundation board. But the foundation board then provides the funds to pay the vendor or whomever it is that these folks need an emergency cash for. And so we, on the foundation board, are really dependent on that amount of money and so grateful. I mean, Annette said, oh, they'll probably make in excess of 35,000. And what happens is toward the end, all of a sudden, there's even more cash. So it's just a fabulous, fabulous event. And I'm going to say thank you ahead of time for that the folks that work on that and participate are magnificent and helping their neighbors. I truly appreciate it. And the third point that I would like to make is kind of in conjunction with Elizabeth Romano. And I'm with Don on that it truly saddens me to hear someone putting down our village in that manner, because I'm unaware of, and I would certainly hope that we will research this further, that we've not had elder abuse in response to removing the TV. And I agree with Don about the suicide and that, I mean, where's the correlation in the data that's related? You know, that is not anything that we can prove any relationship. And if so, that it would be very sad, because we do have people in isolation, and we do know that we are working in different areas in the community to try to reach folks who are feeling this isolation and loneliness, and what we can do to help. That is something that I know a number of different groups are working on here. We're not ignoring it. And I would like to ask if, I know Brian Gruner is back there and Jeff Parker, if either one of you would also like to speak on this, because I really find it quite dismaying that we hear this negativity about our community, and I'd like to have a response from either one of these gentlemen if they would like to.
I'll let Brian go first.
Good morning, Madam President, Board of Directors. We are obviously aware of the concerns and the allegations that are presented, and we work very, very closely with social services to ensure that we're not in any violation of elder abuse in regards to the county or state or federal laws. And at this point, we feel that we are not. And we did return the TV in no way, shape, or form are we conducting any type of elder abuse. And up to this point, we've had 3 complaints in regards to the TV not having sound. Don't want to mention any names, but they're very vocal or have been vocal about it. So at this point in time, we've gotten positive comments that they like the TV not to have the sound. We can review the programming that's currently on the TV to see if we can have the closed captionings on a consistent basis. That would be an option. However, at this point in time, we're still kind of monitoring the whole process and trying to get feedback from residents.
Okay, the only other thing I would add is we do have the friendly visitor program. So if you know if somebody is isolated, please do call social services and they can get you a friendly visitor to come out and visit that person. And do it on I think the sign up is like a 2-year commitment. So that's refreshing for folks. Thank you.
I just wanted to reiterate again that we take serious any kind of concerns with regards to our residents, and we are working with to increase our level of effort with our social services, and that if anybody has a direct concern about operations, that they feel free to make an appointment to see me if that's necessary, and they can do that.
I'd like to make a comment regarding the suicidal situation. I'm a retired homicide detective, and it doesn't require that you have to be elderly, but it is well known that elderly people do commit suicide all over the place, not just necessarily here. And it doesn't require you to be aged to commit suicide. You'd be amazed on how many I've gone to. So it's not just because we live here that we're going to commit suicide. Believe me, this is a fabulous place to be. Thank you.
Jeff, or Brian, do we have any statistics how we compare to other locations around the country with regard to suicide?
I mean, not that I'm aware of in regards to the recreation department, but I'm sure social services would have those statistics available, or we can obtain them through research. The answer is no.
You didn't call me, but you get me. Eileen Paulin, I'm the manager of our communications here in the village. I can tell you that we take this very seriously, and I'm talking to all of you that are out there in TV land. We do have a resident who's present here today we became very deeply concerned about this, and I can tell you that Tim Moy, Susan McInerney, and myself have dug very, very deep into this to be sure that there's no substantiation for it. So I want people to know that social services is very aware of it, security is very aware of it, I'm very aware of it, and we took it very seriously. We continue to take it seriously. But our rates are not, you have to realize that the suicide rate, sorry to say this, the highest suicide rate in this country is 80-year-old men and older. Guess what, folks? That's part of our population. But our rate is not any higher than any other part of the public. So I just want to assure everybody that we take this extremely seriously. And I agree, we care very deeply about the people who live here. So we have looked into it. And the coroner helped us. So.
Thank you, Eileen. Anybody else? I did have one more point. And that one more point is that as I look out here in the audience in the boardroom and see people who give so much of their time and love to the other people in the community, that they're reaching out and striving to make this an even better place to live. And I look around this dais and I see the members of this board and know the members of all the other boards are doing likewise, and thinking of clubs. I mean, we mentioned the men's golf club, people in the community reaching out and loving and helping others. And we just heard Eileen speak, and she spoke and mentioned members of the staff, as did Brian, as did Jeff. Our staff is dedicated and caring folks. And I just want to make sure that that positive piece is out there so people in TV land do know that this is such a wonderful place to be. And if you do have a concern, there are so many places to go for help. Social services is the direct line. You can get, and our CEO and our COO are both extremely open. Anyone on any of our boards, I know I'm speaking for all of you, that if someone came to you with concern, you would follow through on it and are looking to try to make this a better place. That's why we give this time. So anyway, that's the end of my sermon for the day. I'm sorry, that really concerned me that there was that negativity put out there. Thank you. So where are we next? We are on to the consent calendar. And Joan.
I move we accept the consent calendar.
Okay, moved in second. All those in favor?
Okay, don't want to take anything off?
We don't have to vote and then discuss?
Well, if he wants to take.
Oh, if he wants to take something off, no. Okay, so yes, go ahead, you want to do
Okay,
something?
two things. One was that we had discussed possibility of removing the landscape committee, since there's very little that can be done. Okay, it's been canceled several times. There's very little that is involved with landscape as far as GRF is concerned. And that was one comment that I had to make. The other is a correction now on the Energy Committee. The chairman of that committee is Steve Leonard.
Okay, all right.
Last name?
Leonard.
Steve Leonard is the chair of the
Chair
Energy
of that committee.
That was just voted last week.
That's right.
And Joan has some business here to tell us.
Well, okay, that was done after the fact, post facto. We either approve this current list and then add Steve next month. He'll still be on it, but it's just.
Okay, but.
It's just an order of business, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, got it?
Right. Okay, and the removal of landscape, he wants to discuss that. I'm not sure that that's.
Yeah,
Pardon?
right.
Does the whole committee wish to be removed?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think this is the place that we can do that right now.
okay.
The landscape committee itself will have to say that in the committee, and then it'll go. Does that make sense?
Okay, that's the process.
Okay, that, fine.
We don't do it here.
Okay. So we're back to the consent calendar. And it's been moved and seconded, and is there anybody else want to change anything on the consent calendar?
Okay.
If not, those in favor of accepting the consent calendar? 2, 3, okay, fine, passes. Unfinished business. Entertain a motion to approve a resolution for a comprehensive staff training day. And this is a 28-day notification to comply with Civil Code 4360, and that's been satisfied. Joan.
Okay. Comprehensive Staff Training Day. Whereas at the January Community Activities Committee meeting, staff recommended approval to close all Department of Recreation and Special Events facilities for a comprehensive training day for all recreation employees. And whereas the proposed comprehensive employee development and training day is new and has not been conducted in previous years, and whereas comprehensive training is critical in customer service-oriented corporations, which provides an opportunity to exchange ideas, review and/or introduce new operational procedures and enhancements, focus on team building, develop customer service skills, ensure consistent delivery, and understand the vision and objectives of the department and corporation. And whereas clubhouse supervisors will develop and train staff members, and whereas staff will be paid to attend the training, Those not scheduled to work that day would be asked to come in and attend, costing up to $4,500 if every team member attends. Now therefore be it resolved, May 8th, 2019, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts to close facilities with the caveat that the golf facility remain open on August 14th, 2019, from 1 to 4 p.m. during a comprehensive staff training day. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move we accept this resolution for the staff training day.
Second, Pat. Okay, discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, it passes. Thank you.
We can't.
New business, and new business is the 2019 election schedule and a resolution to approve the inspector of election. Joan.
Okay, you have the schedule for Golden Rain Foundation as a handout for your agenda. Resolution 9019-XX, approve inspector, no? Is that it? Approve Inspector of Election Services. Whereas Civil Code 5110 and Corporation Code 7416 requires an association to select an independent third party as an inspector of elections. Whereas for transparency purposes and due to the number of ballots received, it is necessary to contract for an inspector of elections. Whereas an inspector of elections is used, among other tasks, to print and mail voter packages, inspect and tabulate ballots, and certify results. And now therefore be it resolved, May 8th, 2019, that the Board of Directors of Golden Rain Foundation hereby approves single sourcing a contract to Unilect to perform inspectors of election services for the 2019 annual meeting of the corporate members. And resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are directed on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move we approve the Inspector of Election Services.
Second. Moved and seconded. Discussion.
We have a request to speak on this item.
Okay. Go ahead, no.
Juanita? No? Okay.
It's okay.
It was the old one.
It's resolved. It's
Oh.
resolved.
Okay, that's resolved.
All in favor?
And so now, all in favor? Inspector of election. Oh, and we can vote on
Vote
screen.
electronically, guys.
Okay. I did already. Okay. Looks good. Passes. Thank you so much. In conjunction with that, we had the election schedule, and we do have a copy of that that was, that is run off and we can put into the packet. Next, 13B, traffic school eligibility. May initial notification must postpone 28 days for member review to comply with Civil Code 4360. Joan.
I'm just going to read the changes so that we don't have a huge comment from me. This is changes in the vehicle traffic parking rules. Cheryl, a couple of minor scribners which I can share with you later. Okay, but let's go to page 8 of 21. If you go to the red section there, item 5, Roman numeral 5, the following citations are ineligible for traffic school. And I might add, there's a huge list of those citations following this, so I'll just read here. Parking RV lot parking, handicap parking, and specific moving violations such as hit and run, valid driver's licenses not produced, and reckless driving. And again, I call your attention to the list at the end of this resolution. Okay, on page 9 of 21, you'll see the word license was misspelled, is now corrected. And I think that was it, just a second. Yeah, okay. So basically, the change is certain non-moving violations are not accepted at traffic court, and that's what it's all about. So I move we accept this policy for discussion only and postpone the final approval for 28 days, according to Civil Code 4360.
Do I have a second? Ray seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, discussion? Ray.
Okay.
And then,
There's something that's really important on that last page where it says a valid driver's license not produced, $200 and $400, and it's indicated you can't go to traffic school. You have to understand something. When the notices of violation are written for vehicles that are parked, the drivers are not in them, so they don't have the license. When they come before the traffic committee, the license is observed by the security officer, and then that is eliminated. That is very important to understand that, and that's what we do. I don't want people to get the wrong impression, oh, you didn't produce it because you were parked, you can charge $200. That is not so. And that's why we make sure there are exceptions to these things, and that's what's taken care of at the traffic committee. Okay?
thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Annette?
Okay. Ray, I read these things and they were considerable, and I
Yes.
learned a lot of good information. But back to the topic you were just talking about, that 660, the valid driver's license not produced. I put a slash there and also said insurance, for proof of insurance.
That's exactly what I asked for. When I asked for the license, because you must have insurance when you're given your license. That's mandatory.
But I was just thinking that on this, it should be a slash and should say proof of insurance on there too. So this way, it's one or the other, because when you're driving around without,
Okay. If you are given a driver's license, you have already produced insurance factors. That is part of the DMV. That is written in there. It's automatic.
I do understand that, but basically, the driver's license lasts up to, say, like 8 years. And I don't know whether or not you've renewed your insurance, because that's only annual. So the thing I was thinking about would be on Agenda Item 13B, page 7 of 21, when it says enforcement under 4, like 4A. It says such as GRF identification card, driver's license, vehicle registration, proof of insurance, and then an gate pass. So there were 2 places I was going to add that, or 3 places I was going to add that in. The same way, like when Joan just spoke about page 8 of 21, to put in that red line section, proof of insurance.
Point of order. Okay, this is something that belongs in committee.
Okay.
And I think we're just here to approve just what cannot go to traffic school.
Okay, then
But
I
they
will
should
take the
go to
best.
committee.
All right, then I will definitely approve it then. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. All righty. Anyone else? All those in favor? Thank you. Passes. Oh, you're doing it online then, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good. Yes, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Juanita had requested to speak on this item.
Oh, okay.
Since it's under discussion, and I will try to make the committee meeting as well, just so happens the committee meeting, which is every other month, was up against our Governing Documents Committee, and I was not able to be there. I strongly disagree with making these particular violations ineligible to go to traffic school. I think it should be an and, not a not. These are the type of people who need traffic school. No, I don't want them to get away with paying a $20 traffic school fee and not the larger fee they might pay for some of these more grievous offenses. It should be in addition to paying the fine. They have to go to traffic school. We are excluding the people who need it the most, those who have a parking violation. I mean, there are other things that the traffic school is not going to mean as much. And I think that's why a lot of people don't go and just pay the smaller fine. But I think particularly for the larger violations, they should be required to go to traffic school as well as pay the fine.
Point
It
of
shouldn't
order.
be either or. So I will make that point at committee.
Right.
In writing if I can't be there.
Point of
But-
order. Okay,
So I
that-
just wanted
That
to-
discussion should be in committee.
Right,
And
right.
it will be.
But this
so
was member comments on this, so I thought I'd make my comment. Thank you.
We don't need replies, it's not a debate, okay?
We can't reply, is that the idea, is that what you said? Okay.
No, but you know that you'll
In
be
committee.
discussing it in committee.
Right, I was just going to point out that this is a beautiful one here, where they break the window so that the hose can go through when people park in front of fire hydrants. You can let that be an excuse, go to traffic school? No, thank you.
Okay. All right. So we are now on committee reports, and the first report will be the report of the Finance Committee, the financial reports, and Director English is going to do that for us today. Director Phelps is on vacation. Thank you, Pat.
Yes, well, I'm happy to fill in for Diane. She's on a much-needed vacation, so here I am. Anyway, with regard to our finances, through the reporting period of March 31st, we had total revenue for GRF, which was $10.764 million, compared to expenses, which was $10,002,002, resulting in net revenue of $762,000. Okay, slide number 2. In finance, we keep a close eye on the operating portion of our financial results. The operating fund, without depreciation, shows an operation surplus of $230,000 through the reporting period. Slide number 3. This next chart shows the same actuals from the income statement, but compared to budget. We can see here that GRF ended the period worse than budget by $40,000. This was primarily due to lower revenues than we projected for the budget. Slide number 4. This slide shows our most significant variances by category, with the green bars representing favorable variances and orange bars representing unfavorable. Revenue. Overall, we had less revenue than expected. The variances included the trust facilities fees, which was $198,000, and that was unfavorable due to fewer manors sold. The golf operations were $148,000. This is unfavorable due to rain, which required course closures or play being limited to cart paths. Interest income, $92,000 higher. Invested reserve balances brought in more revenue than budgeted, helping to offset some of the other revenue shortfalls. Timing. Budgets are spread evenly, and certain expenditures will occur later in the year throughout the organization. So we have favorable variances in categories such as repairs and maintenance was $99,000 favorable. Materials and supplies was $92,000 favorable. Savings. Some variances resulted from an operational savings, and we may continue seeing a favorable variance in these categories, including employee compensation. This was $117,000 less participation, medical and retirement benefits. Utilities, $33,000 less usage of irrigation water due to the rain. May I have slide 5, please? Slide 5. Expenses to date of $8.9 million, excluding depreciation, are shown on a pie chart, with our largest categories being compensation, cable TV, insurance, utilities, and outside services. The ratio of these expenses will change as work is performed throughout the year. Okay, slide 6. We do have sources of revenues other than the assessments, such as fees and rentals. To date, we have received just over $3 million, as shown on this pie chart. By category, we can see that our largest revenue is broadband services, premium channels and set-top boxes, etc., followed by trust facilities fees, $5,000 transfer fee for resales. That is when someone purchases a property in Laguna Woods, they pay the $5,000. Golf operation, green fees and cart rentals, and so forth. These revenues offset costs and help keep the assessments down. Slide 7. We have added a slide here to show resale history from 2017 to 2019. Community-wide sales total 169 in January to March 2019 timeframe. Most of these transactions generate the $5,000 trust facilities fee, transfer fee, used as a primary source of revenue for our reserves. Slide number 8. The reserve and contingency fund adjusted balances are shown here. Starting with the first column on the left, the funds show a combined ending balance of $29.2 million. Included in this total are contributions received this year through assessments, trust facility fees, and interest earnings. The second column shows the work in process of $5.8 million, reflecting the amounts paid for projects not yet complete. The third column represents the resulting adjusted fund balances of $23.4 million. Slide number 9. We compare this to historical fund balances for the past 5 years on this next chart, showing that GRF has averaged about $23 million in reserves and contingency funds. Slide number 10. The listing on this slide gives you an idea where the reserve money is committed. Of the $23 million appropriated by the board for various projects and equipment purchases, the remaining encumbrances against our reserve and contingency funds is $16 million, primarily for renovation projects. That's it for the slides. And our next meeting for the finance company will be June the 19th in the boardroom at 1:30. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate it. And next we have the report of the Community Activities Committee, Director Sabolso. The committee met on March 14th. The next meeting is May 9th. That's tomorrow at 1:30. Annette.
Yes. We only meet every other month, so there's really not much to report at all. We are meeting tomorrow, so we urge you to please come. The agenda is posted. Actually, tonight, Wednesday, May 8th, there's an Italian buffet at Clubhouse 1 at 5:30. The Martinez menu includes chicken parmesan, lasagna, Italian meat sauce, green salad, and garlic bread. Tickets are on sale at Clubhouse 1 for $12. Okay, and if you haven't purchased a ticket, I just read here, it's noon the day before dinner, which is something I didn't know, but if you're still interested, you can call 949-597-4281 and see if there's any cancellations. On Sunday, May 12th, at Clubhouse 5 at 1 o'clock, there will be a Mother's Day buffet. Yolanda will be catering that. And basically, tickets are on sale at Clubhouse 5. For more information, you may call 949-597-4382. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Annette. And next, we have the report of Maintenance and Construction Committee, Director Mattson.
We have a copy of our agenda meeting that occurred April the 10th. And we have 26 items on our project log, and some of them are mentioned here, but I'd like to also mention some of them that are not here. One of them is Clubhouse 6. We're going to be replacing the HVAC system there, and that should be done by July. And Jeff here mentioned something on the HVAC for this building here. That's coming up a little sooner than our schedule shows. Clubhouse 3, or the Performing Arts Building, that's some, we're starting to get construction drawings on that, and we hope to have all that work done by November. So it's a major job over there. Communities, gates, there have been a lot of, there's some gates mentioned here on items 13, 14 also. I'd just like to say gates 9 and 10 and 14 are, and the RV lot, that's all, those are coming up real quick and should be done by September. And one of the major gates that have just been completed is gate 7. And I was just up there a couple of days ago, just before it opened, and the folks did a wonderful job there. It really is nice. And that gate 7 and gate 8 are two gates that are highly used by people over in that area, and I'm one of them. I get here every day by going through those two gates instead of taking Santa Maria and Moulton and El Toro Road around. You can avoid a lot of traffic. Also, I'd like to say that in gate 11, we have this place called West Creek, and there are a lot of people walk through there. And if you haven't been there, let me know and I'll take you through there. But it's about a quarter of a mile long, and people walk up and back and so forth. The beautiful scenery there, and we just put in 3 benches for people to sit down if they want to sit down and just for a while and just look at the scenery and so forth, or if they get a little tired, we have 3 benches in there. And that takes care of M&C. I'd also like to give a report on our energy. It's not on here, and I'll go ahead and make a report on that. There are 9 items on the project log, and so it's not as much as M&C, of course. I'd like to talk on 3 of them. Walkway lighting is being done as required, and the total job should be done by this December. Also, we've hired an energy consultant who is being used as required as we go along. And as Bert mentioned, we do have a new chairman on the committee, Steve Letter. That's what I got, okay. And also, in the Garden Villa buildings, we're going to be replacing the electrical panels, and there are 23 Garden Villa buildings that will get this treatment. So that's a big electrical change there. This Energy Committee is, Bert was on that for a long time, and these folks on that committee are some real competent people from the various United, Third, and even Mutual 50 has a very nice representative on there, Rhina. But anyway, there's some wonderful things, and there's a lot of with the advancing technology and with electric cars and solar panels and so many things. That's a highly tech committee we got going there, and we have some real good people on it. Our next meeting will be, of that Energy Committee, will be July 3rd, and back on M&C, the next meeting will be June the 12th for those. So M&C, June 12th, Energy, July the 3rd. And that concludes my meeting.
Thank you, Jim.
Welcome.
Report of Media and Communications Committee, Director Millman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Media and Communications Committee met Monday, April 15th, and 2019. We had reports from Chuck Holland and Eileen Pollan. Mr. Holland gave a very comprehensive PowerPoint report on cable card fees and broadband services channels. The latter includes a goal to remove standard definition by the end of 2019 and become 100% high definition by 2020. Excuse me. Sorry. He described 5 phases to the broadband services roadmap, which include a digital guide to existing digital converters, discontinuing the analog channel 3 guide, replacing all standard definition set-top boxes, consolidating and reconfiguring high-definition channels for direct plug-in TVs and digital subscribers. He also gave his regular report, which included contract renewals, subscriber counts, and Performa Broadband Services summary of operations. The summary of operations included outside services, repairs and maintenance, operating expenses, property and sales tax, cable programming, copyright, franchise fees, which are creeping up, non-collectible accounts, merchandise sales, clubhouse rentals, and event fees, broadband services, miscellaneous, employee compensation, utilities, and telephone and legal fees. Ms. Pollan gave a report on marketing and communications. She reported on docent tours, new resident orientations, the workflow of her department, emails, publications, and department areas of focus. These areas of focus include things like weed abatement, gate construction, RFID stickers, security awareness, the I-5 El Toro interchange project, waste disposal, recycling, new dryer installation, street lighting in Third Mutual, and transportation study updates. She also talked about new procedures for notifying residents when there is an elevator outage. In the future, you will probably see all the communication committees combined under one giant committee for communications in GRF. Ms. Pollan also discussed the realtor tours, which are new. So realtors are going around, instead of just residents, realtors alone are getting a special tour. And we're going to be implementing a policy for photography and marketing. This policy is already in existence. We just have to be sure it's followed. Our next meeting will be Monday, May 20th at 1:30 in the boardroom. Sorry. we want to have a report also from Thrive. Sorry, Beth.
Okay. The Thrive report is just a really quickie to let you know that Thrive is expanding its efforts to reach out and looking at joining forces with a possibility of the Kindness Project. One of the things, a couple of the things that we've been doing with Thrive is we were at the Health and Wellness Fair, and then we recently were at the art, I don't know whether it was exhibit or sale. It was art affair sale in Clubhouse 2, just to let folks know about Thrive and the possibility of helping out with Thrive or reaching out to your neighbors in reaching out in a hand and seeing how they're thriving and helping others to thrive, reaching out to your neighbors. That's another thing that we've been doing. One of the big things, and one of the big projects that's ongoing is and I'm going to say this word, I hope correctly, the centenarian. Did I say it right? Okay. I safely can say the Hundreds Project. And what is happening is that team under the direction of Mark Rabinovich and Lucy Parker, and it's a large team working on this, are interviewing folks that live in our village that are 100 years old plus, and talking to them about their thriving here in the village and their life. And they're interviewing them, and there will be videos, and that project will be on display at the 4th of July celebration. That will be the first kind of display, and then when it's totally completed and all put together, there will be some sort of a celebration, opening celebration, demonstrating these videos and the artwork, the photos that go with it, as well as being able to meet some of the participants, which will be a really kind of I think, really interesting and enjoyable activity. So that's kind of an upcoming event. So thank you, that's Thrive. Where are we now? We are on
Mobility.
We are on mobility. Thank you, Ray.
The Mobility and Vehicle Committee met on April 3rd at 1:30 p.m. in this location. The chairperson, I'm the chair, but Mr. Lorauer gave information providing an overview of the ridership data for Plan a Ride, the fixed route system, and destination shopping. He also provided an update on the bus demonstration conducted March 2019. We looked at some bus situations and made some approvals of it, which naturally would be approved by this board. Then the transit study update, the PowerPoint, Mr. Fairs and Pairs, Mr. Stephen Brown gave us information from delivered a PowerPoint presentation to update the committee on the status of the transportation study. This update included an overview of the study's purpose, an outline of the major milestones, and a summary of the takeaways obtained at the community engagement meeting that took place on March 20th. Mr. Brown announced that additional surveys and discussions will be taking place over the next few months, and draft recommendations will be provided in late May. The next meeting will be Wednesday, June 5th, in this location.
All right, thank you, Ray. And next we have security. Don?
Excuse me, we have
Oh, I'm
Laguna
sorry.
Canyon.
I apologize.
The Laguna Canyon Foundation learned about the flora, the fauna, the geology, and the history of this 22,000-acre wilderness area with the Laguna Canyon Foundation volunteer naturalists and Orange County Park staff. Water, hat, sunscreen, and sturdy shoes are essential, along with any medications you may need. Participants under the age of 18 must attend with an adult. Online reservations are required. We have many copies of this information up front. You must please sign up at the lagunacanyon.org/events. All activities are subject to change or cancellation. Wilderness area may be closed during a rain or high fire damage. Participants will be notified via the email provided at sign up. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ray. Then the next person we've got coming up is Don Tibbetts, who's the chair of the Security and Community Access Committee. Thank you, Don.
Thank you. The gate arm installations are on task, and one thing I would like to emphasize on that, if you haven't done so, get your what's that stand for? ID. You get to get it right across the hall here. And they are really working great. We had two noteworthy incidents I'll mention. Officers stopped a male walking down the street in the early morning hours. He looked out of place, so he stopped him, checked him, didn't belong here. And they called the sheriff's department. He was arrested for an outstanding warrant. We're not sure how he got in, and he didn't say at the time. He either climbed a fence or he was living with the resident. We aren't sure. The second item was a patrol officer noticed a car parked in the red zone, and they stopped. They went over there to look at him. He was passed out, and he happened to be, we called the sheriff. He was arrested for a DUI, and he was a resident. Our security officers, under the direction of Chief Moy, who's an excellent chief, they really do a nice job. They give tickets to some people, and the people are very cooperative, except for a few. And those few, after they go to raise traffic court, they usually apologize because we have it on video what they do. But we have a strong security department, very strong. Golf cart drivers and golf carts were talked about. We're coming down heavier on their violations. Their biggest violation in a golf cart is stop signs. They slow down a little, but they go right through. But we're coming down heavier on that. And that's all I think I'll mention. At this time, I'll ask Ray to talk on the traffic hearings, right?
We met, and there were 11 notices of violation people that showed up. One for storage, commercial vehicles. This is a big situation with commercial vehicles and the no parking. Also, that come in, commercial vehicles come in and they park in the wrong place. We have information on that, and we let these people know when the contractor comes in, they're given this particular information, but they don't adhere to it. What we also do is we show videos of what's going on, and if there is an overview, like I said earlier, we have a lot of them where people have been parked, and of course they're not in their vehicles, so they don't have their driver's license. What I do immediately is have the security officer check the driver's license and make sure it's correct. And I also mention the fact that this has to do with insurance. I always mention that. It has to do with insurance and make sure that that is up and taken care of. But we also have situations where, and it's kind of funny, we had one individual that parked in front of a fire hydrant, and I showed him this particular picture and said, see how lucky you are. Normally, and this has happened to me once before in Los Angeles, where a brand new Cadillac was parked in front of a fire hydrant. The fire department physically broke out both windows and put a 4x in there. A 4x is a unit that connects 4 hoses. And this saves people's lives. So please do not park in front of the fire hydrants. We're going to be meeting again next Wednesday, a week from today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Next report would be by Judy on disaster preparedness.
Good afternoon. We did not have a meeting last month, but we had one March 26th, 2018, right here in this boardroom. There's a lot of more room now for people to come and visit and see what we're all about, so we'll hoping you'll do that. Our upcoming meeting is the 28th, that's Tuesday, the last Tuesday of this month. We meet on the last Tuesday of odd months at 9:30 here in this boardroom. We A copy of the minutes from the last meeting is in the agenda, and you can also get that online. So I'm not reading the minutes. I want to tell you a little bit about the task force itself. It is not a committee, so we're not governed by the GRF bylaws on committees. So we're made up of 3 officers. Tim Moore is our chief officer and chair of the committee. Roger Cowdery is our vice chair, and I am the recording secretary. Then we have subcommittees. Since we're not a committee, we have to have subcommittees. And so anyone interested, if you come to the meeting, you could get on either the radio communications committee, the office managing committee. We need people to man the office right here, that's right here in this building. You can work on recruitment, retention, and training. You can also work on the energy subcommittee, and that's sub-chaired by Bert Moldow. And what that committee is looking for now, and jump in anytime you want to, Bert, looking at energy generating devices that would help keep the village powered during a disaster or major power outage. And one of the things we're looking at now is islanding this building. In other words, if power was down and this building was completely cut off, through alternate power sources such as, or a combination of, solar, wind, geothermal, hydroelectric, and Bert can probably name others. Through a combination of those, we could maintain and run this building to keep the village going for an emergency or during an emergency, because not only is security on this building, this is sort of the nucleus of the village, and this room here would be our emergency operating center. So all that's really important. We do have some training classes coming up. Let's see the back page here. The next one will be on Wednesday, June 5th, from 1 to 4, Clubhouse 7. It's for adult CPR and AED training. Then July 6th, we have Good Neighbor Captain training. And this is where we really need a lot of volunteers, because we don't have enough manners or buildings in the community that are covered. In case of a disaster, this is where someone goes on the door and knocks. Remember, I did last month, and it takes 3 minutes to just jot down some information and get that to the first responders so they know where to come. So good neighbor captains are one of the real critical keys in getting help to our residents during a disaster. So I hope a bunch of people show up to sign up for that. And you can just go to this class on June 6th. There's no obligation. Free cookies and coffee. It's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., again at Clubhouse 7. And then Monday, September 16th, from 1 to 4, will be a basic first aid training class. And that should interest anybody as a just in case. So those are the next 4 classes that are coming up. They're all in Clubhouse 7. And we hope to see somebody here, people here other than just the people at the dais at the next meeting. Again, that's on the 28th, 9:30, right here in the boardroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Our next meeting for the safety and security meeting will be June 21st at 9:30 in this room. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Don. And next, we have report of the Landscape Committee, Director Maldo.
Yeah, there was no meeting, has not been for about 4 months. Apparently, the Landscape Committee has been relying upon Kurt and the information that's been garnered from the other mutuals, in particular regarding the herbicides, and we'll just follow suit. I will bring up next week at the meeting, we will hold a meeting next week, actually at 1:30 in this room, on Wednesday, to discuss the disbanding of this committee. It was once suggested that, like security, since there are so many common problems associated with landscaping, herbicides, grass, trees, it's common across the board. We are questioning whether we really need to have 3 different committees meeting. It was proposed to the mutuals. The mutuals have rejected that. And I was suggesting that perhaps the reason they suggested that it would be a GRF meeting, the alternative would be to do what was done with energy, and that is to create a task force, which would then report back to the boards. So I think this will be discussed at the next meeting, and we'll come back with a set of recommendations.
Okay.
The next meeting, as I said, is May 15th at 1:30 p.m. in this room.
Annette, did you want to say something about the golf?
Basically, GRF covers the golf courses, so I'll attend that meeting. Okay? Because that's, I
Fine.
mean, that's just important. Thank you.
And energy is a part of M&C. Jim, did you want to say anything about that?
He did.
I mean, the landscape. Do you want to say anything about landscape? It isn't a part of M&C, but did you want to speak on that?
No.
Okay, all right. I think we'll be talking more about items to be put onto that agenda for landscape there. I'm sure that we may have some other ideas to discuss at that meeting. Thank you. Okay, future agenda items, any? And director comments, that's where we are now. And we will start over
You want me
here.
to say something about El Toro water?
Yes. Oh, that's right, and I wrote myself a note and didn't call on you. Yes, Jim is going to talk about El Toro water.
They have, El Toro Water has quarterly meetings, and the next one is coming up real quick here on the 16th of May. And they talk mainly about the water situation in this area, but they also cover the whole state of California, and especially with this drought situation we have been in, and which we are no longer in due to all of this wonderful rain we had months ago. And also they cover the Colorado River, one of our main areas of getting water in this area, and the dams that are along the Colorado River are doing real well, and so we're having almost a miracle with all this rain we had, and hopefully we can start getting a little bit more. They get much more rain up in Northern California and Oregon and Washington than we get down here. And on the meeting that will be on May the 16th, coming up real quick, there's just a couple things on the agenda. And one of them is Phase 2 Recycled Water Distribution System Status Report. We do have recycled water over in United and Third Mutual, and they just completed a job that covered our 110 area and some of the areas over in United. And so that's always nice to go to. They actually have a lunch, and it's located over at their I was looking for their address here, but I don't see the thing. Anyway, that's all I guess I'll say about it, but it's a real nice place to go, and the people are really nice, and you get to see a lot of people, not only here and that go there, but in other cities that El Toro Water covers.
Joan is saying, I think, that we need to make reservations. Could you clarify that?
Phone number?
Yeah, I have a phone number here if you're interested. Okay, it is area code 949-837-7050. 837-7050, and you call extension 225, when your call is answered, they say, where would you like to call? And you just could go ahead and dial 225, and that'll put you in contact with this Polly Welsh, Welsch, and she's the one that handles the people coming in. And when you get there, they will have a name tag for you, and you can go and sit down and enjoy a nice lunch and talk with a lot of the folks and hear a lot of good water information.
What is the date?
The 16th, wait a minute
This
here.
15th, the first time. The 16th.
16th.
Yeah, I
She told me
think
this Thursday.
it's
Tomorrow?
coming up, it's the 16th.
16th, so.
It's just a few
Thursday, May
days.
16th, I was wrong.
Okay,
From 11:30 to 1:30.
okay. Good thing
Okay,
it's
so it's
open.
May
Leave early to be
16th,
here.
11:30 to 1:30.
El Toro
One-
Water
yeah,
District.
11:30
El
to
Toro Water
1:30.
District. Okay.
Los Alisos.
Boulevard at Lake Forest.
Yes, the address is 24251. 24251 Los Alitos Boulevard in Lake Forest.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just picked it up on the phone.
Juanita.
Madam Chair, if I can just make a couple
251
of
Los
additional
Alisos.
comments there. Two other things that are going to be addressed there. One of them, at least for we board members, that I think is so important, it is they are going to an overview of their 2019-20 operating budget and proposed adjustments to the rates and charges, and that directly affects what we pay for the water. So we need to know what they're suggesting and maybe put some of our comments in. Secondly, you probably, if you watched news on TV, every one of the major channels has been talking about arsenic in our water. It's not our water, in California's water, and they make it very general so that it scares our residents. I've had so many calls. And Catherine Freshley has put out a statement. They're going to talk about it here. They do fantastic testing of our water from the El Toro Water District. Every water everywhere has a little bit of arsenic in it. Ours is well below any problems and any of the other chemicals that they're talking to. They're talking about some of the places that have brown water and all of this kind of stuff. Not here. So it's important that we get that information so we can pass it on to our residents when they ask.
Yeah, that's very good, Juanita. Thank you for saying that.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for reminding me, Jim. So now we will go for member comments, and we'll start with Director English.
No comments, but thanks for good meeting.
I'd just like to comment, since there was so much talk about seniors aging in place, and a lot of them don't have transportation, they can't drive anymore, or they don't have a golf cart, but they want something to do. So many of our clubs really have active things for you to do, and there's one especially, it's new, so not everybody knows about it, so I'm speaking to those people at home. This club is called Seniors for Active Living and Social Activity, and that's what they do. They take short trips. You can pick up the bus at Clubhouse 5. You can plan a ride to Clubhouse 5. And then I take care of 55 people for the next 3 days. And we go to really fun places like Laughlin and is the next one. And it's very reasonably priced. We play bingo on the bus. We have a movie. We have open mic. And coming back, we do something similar. We feed you on the bus. We stop halfway in Barstow so you can stretch your legs. So if you're looking for something to do and you can't drive, this is be one of many. There's several other clubs that do the same thing. You just have to look in the Globe or go find a flyer somewhere in one of the clubhouses. But there is a lot this community offers for seniors, so they're not alone. And they have, even if you're new, especially, I get a lot of calls from people, I just moved here, I don't know anybody, how do I meet somebody? And they'll by themselves, and so this is a good way to meet new people. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith.
No,
Go ahead,
thanks.
Ray.
Good meeting.
Thank you. Jim?
No. Great meeting.
Thank you.
Good meeting, thank you.
Jim?
Sure.
Thanks for a great meeting.
Thanks for a short meeting.
Dick?
Yeah, talking about the 5-year plan, I'm suggesting that when you start working on Clubhouse 1, you consider putting in a closed pool, an outdoor pool. And when, a couple of years ago, GRF was talking about a pool, and they made it so elaborate, the cost was just prohibitive. But if they do it like the pool in Irvine, it's very economic. I think it's like $150,000 to make it an enclosed pool. And I think that's really a worthwhile thing, because people have been talking about that for years. And I think it's time to look at it.
Yeah, we have been talking about, you're right about that, Dick. Yes, so many people have been asking about it, so, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I have nothing to add.
Jeff, Siobhan, you?
I have one clarification, please, on the art reception Monday evening. That is for the Laguna Woods Art Association, the artists who have artwork displayed, and our board members. Subsequent to that, the public and residents are invited to view the artwork that is on the walls. There will be a nice program at the concierge desk, so they can take it with them as they walk through and look at the art that is displayed on the walls.
Okay, so the 7 to 9 program is off limits. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification,
Sorry
Siobhan.
about that.
And I would just like to say thank you, one and all, for your participation and all that you do for this community. I really appreciate it. Humbled to be a part of your team here. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Recessed.